everybody, we are almost set here. Getting myself set up. All right, I think we are just about set here. All right, there we go. How we doing, everyone? Kickoff about to start up here between Australia and Egypt, just in time for the match to start. Australia will be kicking off on this one, so just waiting on the countdown now. As soon as I see the ball actually leave the foot, I will officially start the timer. So if you're trying to sync up, that'll be how you can handle it. Right now we are... Right now he's standing, and it has begun. There we go. Obviously, there's a little bit of a delay between when I see my clock going and when it shows up on the screen up there, but it's largely going to work out. All right, so Australia with the ball beginning. They're still in the midfield. Australia will be wearing their Wallabies jerseys. I'm sorry, I think of Australia and I think of rugby union. So they've got the yellow jerseys with the green trim and the green shorts, as well as white socks. That is their kit. Egypt's kit is going to be the red with black and white trim, white shorts, and black socks. Australia is moving from left to right on the screen. Egypt moving from right to left. So, because the way I in broadcast will report left and right in relation to the team's goalkeeper, that means that when Australia is moving and I call for that they're moving to their left, that means they're moving towards the top of the screen. And with Egypt, when they're moving to their left, they're moving down towards the bottom of the screen. All right, so Egypt now with the ball. Right now the backfield is sent it up to their rear midfield. A lot of just passing back and forth here, trying to get themselves set up, figuring out their strategy going forward. And they've made their move. They have gotten it into their offensive half. Ball's moved up to their front line. Kick back to the midfielder. Kick back to the backfield, but the backfield is now sitting past midfield, so they have taken a good bit of territory. They're now attempting to set up another play towards the front. 2 minutes in here. All right. So just for the FIFA rankings, because we are trying to track all the teams available, at this current moment, neither of the teams competing is ranked in the top 10. Ball has been kicked back to the Egyptian keeper as Australia temporarily seized control and Egypt needed to gain distance. They're attempting their push forward again, kick it out into the offensive half on the right side. The Australian defender outruns him and kicks the ball out. That'll be a throw-in. All right, so bear in mind, this was not the FIFA rankings that you would have seen at the beginning of the World Cup. They have been updating periodically as the matches have been going. But right now, the higher-ranked team in this match would be Egypt, who currently... What just happened here? The number disappeared for me. Okay, there it is. Egypt is sitting ranked 28th. Sorry, 26th. They went up from 29th. Australia is ranked 28th, dropping 1 space. So in the time frame of this World Cup, Australia has gone from being ahead by 2 rankings to now being behind by 2 rankings on their opponent. Australia throwing it in here. These teams are basically, I would argue, in that punching class where they're not necessarily a threat at the moment to make a run at the World Cup, but they are good enough to give a top team a run in a single match setting. So what they're looking at here is which team is going to get a chance to take a crack at Argentina, assuming they get the victory on Cabo Verde a little later here. Australia did just take a shot at net, but it went very, very high. Let's see here. Did he actually? No. The goalkeeper did jump for it, but it was like a full 2 to 3 hands above him. Yeah, that was not close. In terms of the current FIFA rankings, I'm just trying to see where the highest ranked team is without. That would be Italy, who is ranked 14th in the world and just straight up isn't here. In terms of other team, the highest ranked team, not in the World Cup, but beyond that would be Nigeria, who began this World Cup ranked 26 and has actually gone up one despite not being present. So there is that. I would say Egypt will probably surpass them if they win this. Australia would probably be able to do the same, considering their separation right now. Egypt is behind Nigeria by 0.3 of a point. Australia is behind them by about 3.5. In terms of the matches you're going to see later today here, as Australia's backs kick it back to the keeper, send it to their right side. Oh, we have a chance here, running up. Australia trying to make a run for this. They have an open spot in the box, but a slide by the Egyptian defender kicks the ball back out of the box, and it has gone out. The question is, where are they going to give possession? I believe that it would be a corner based on where I saw the Egyptian player slide on the outside of the box, but was at the higher angle, so I'm trying to see if the Australian player got a hand on it. They did not, or foot. They did not, so this will be a corner kick to Australia. Let's see. First, really big set play where there's a chance at scoring, so let's see what happens here. Right. He comes in, kicks it, does not go high. It's a give and go. Kicker has gone to the top corner of the box, tried to dump it in, but it was immediately blocked by a rushing Egyptian player. Ball ends up rolling all the way into the defensive half, and with Egyptians chasing, Australia just sends it straight back to the keeper, who launches it back into the offensive half. All right, so coming up here, we have Argentina, who did start the World Cup at the top. They have since lost their top ranking. They're sitting second behind France. And they're playing Cabo Verde, who right now appears to be very far back. Yes, they are currently ranked 64th. Just ahead of Ghana. And they have to be pretty close to the one of the lowest teams still in here. Yeah, there's like a few teams who qualify for the World Cup who are behind them. But a lot of them have dropped off. Right now, Cabo Verde is about 2 points behind Iraq and 4 points behind Burkina Faso. If, let's say, they got this win and it allowed them, let's say it gained them 10 points to beat Argentina, they would go ahead of Iraq, Burkina Faso, Bosnia, Uzbekistan, and Qatar. That still would only barely get them into the 50s. So that gives you an idea of just how big of a gap this is. In terms of skill, I would be very surprised to see Cabo Verde come out with a win. If it is, they're parking the bus and basically preventing goals for 120 minutes. That's going to be the reality of that match. Egypt currently on the offensive third, trying to make something happen. Unable to do it. Ball is kicked out. All right, looking through. The other match today, the last of the round of 32, is Colombia versus Ghana. At the moment, Colombia has moved up from 13th. They're now number 11, just outside the top 10. They are a pretty significant gap in points behind Mexico, who is in 10th place. And so I don't foresee a victory over Ghana increasing them enough to get there. Especially since we just said Ghana is currently sitting just behind Cabo Verde. And that's after an 8-rank increase, by the way. Getting that draw with England was pretty notable for them. Right, so just, yeah, looking at this here, Australia in the attacking third, but unable to get any separation off the defenders. It'll be a throw-in going to Egypt as the ball is forced out. We're looking at a final 16 where let's assume the higher ranked teams go through in the other two matches because it's pretty significant gaps. I won't really mark either one because they're basically going to be in the same spot anyway after victory. They're probably, whoever wins this match is probably going to sit around 25th. So the top 7 are all going to be in the round of 16. France, Argentina, Spain, England, Brazil, Morocco, and Portugal. 8 has been eliminated in a match with Morocco. That was the Netherlands. 9 and 10 are both. 9, 10, and 11 are all in. Belgium, Mexico, and Colombia. So that's 10 of the 16. The top 11 make up 10 of the slots. Once you get beyond that, the remaining 6 spots currently would be the Swiss, ranked 15th. The USA ranked 16th. Norway ranked 21st. And I'm trying to see where the winner of this match ranked around 25th. Canada ranked 30th. And Paraguay ranked 34th. So Paraguay is going to be the lowest ranked team here unless there is a major upset. Which is kind of fitting. If France is ranked number 1, they get the lowest ranked team. We have a free kick coming here to Egypt. They are sitting just outside the box on their left side. Like, in terms of, like, not even a body length outside of the box. 2 players there attempting to... It's a pass. They walk in, try to take the shot from right inside the box. They're not able to get it as it deflects off an Australian leg. But a second attempt goes through. It's a header. Are they going to get an offside or is this going to count? It looks like they're counting it. That is a goal for Egypt. The Egyptians begin with a lead here in the 13th minute. And that affects things quite a bit here. One thing I had been doing is looking at a lot of win probabilities the last few matches. I didn't get a look at it pre-goal, and I just clicked on the thing now. The win probability is still in the process of calculating because the goal happened very quickly. So it's currently going. That was their... From the looks of it, that was their first official shot on target. Their second overall. That adjusted things considerably. Egypt, after this goal, sits with a 63% chance of winning in regulation. Australia's chances have diminished to 14. And there is a 23% chance of extra time. And what's probably affecting it right now is, in terms of possession... We hadn't talked about it too much, but right now Egypt has had the ball 3 times as much as Australia. They have like a 75-25 advantage on possession. In terms of passes, it's almost triple as well. Egypt has completed 99 passes to Australia's 36. And their pass accuracy is significantly better as well. So just looking at what we're seeing, Egypt has been the far more equipped team for the first 14 minutes of this match. Throw into Australia here as it had gone out, thrown into the box, trying to take advantage of a shot, and goes off about 2 Egyptian players. A rebound shot is taken, but it is extremely far to the right. That is going to be a goal kick. So, in terms of the first 15 minutes, this has not looked great for Australia. This has not been good for the AFC teams really at all. The Asian Federation sent quite a few teams here, but only 2 managed to make it out of group play, that being Australia and Japan. Japan gave Brazil a run for their money, but ultimately ended up falling, and now we are looking at potentially the same thing happening here to Australia. We'll see if they respond, but if Australia goes down, that is the entire Asian Confederation knocked out before the round of 16, which round of 16 is when I consider it to be the actual elimination rounds. The round of 32 very much feels like an additional March Madness round we've tacked on. Usually the World Cup for all these years has started with a round of 16. And so no Asian representation. Obviously, Australia not an actual part of Asia, but they work in the Asian Confederation instead of the Oceanic. So this is the last link. A shot there by Egypt, but it goes off the goalkeeper, saved. So that is a second shot to go on target there. Australia is able to regain control and not allow a rebound this time. Yeah, rough tournament just in general for the AFC. And the CAF, it hasn't... The round of 32 was kind to them as they were able to get 9 teams into the round of 32. However, a lot of them have gone through like just being fodder for bigger teams. They have already had 5 eliminated. And so we are down to Morocco, who is in the round of 16. Egypt, who right now are a heavy favorite to reach the round of 16. Cabo Verde, who most people assume are going to lose to Argentina. And Ghana, who I believe most people think are going to lose to Colombia. We'll see if either of them can defy the odds here and give a third representative. But that's where we sit. And even if it is, let's say even all of them actually manage to win, that's still... You get 4, but 3 of them are in the same corner. So effectively what would end up happening is it would be 3 African squads versus Switzerland for that corner. And so it's... We'll see what's possible. In terms of the African Confederation, the team with the best shot at it, I would say, is Morocco, because they are ranked 6th. I think they actually are a very game opponent and would be able to step up and give France difficulty. And I'm actually very much anticipating that match because it's an actual heavyweight to go against the French, whereas Paraguay very, very much is not. Got Australia moving up here. Ball in the offensive half for Australia. Kicks it ahead to their midfield. They are now into the attacking third. But they are surrounded by 2 Egyptian midfielders who have been chasing the entire time. They finally pop it over, see if they can get it over to one of their strikers. But the defensive line of Egypt holds firm. Ball is kicked, bounces off both teams' players, and it goes out. Are they calling goal kick or corner? That should be a corner. That definitely went off an Egyptian leg first. No, they didn't. Unless that replay had like a ricochet that I couldn't see, it looked like it had gone primarily off the Egyptian player. But based on the way it was angled and where the Australian player is, it is possible it went off of like the very edge of their thigh. It didn't look like it, but now one thing that is notable, if Colombia and Argentina win, 7 of the 8 round of 16 matchups will feature squads from the Americas. 3 from North America, 4 from South America. Europe also has 7 teams that have advanced into the round of 16. However, 2 of them are playing each other, so between Spain and Portugal, 1 is not going to advance any farther. So the most that can happen is 6 quarterfinalists for the Europeans, whereas technically the Americas combined could get 7 out of 8. And that basically leaves CAF with, oh, here we go. There's a kick ahead. There's a chance the Egyptians can get this off a shot. It goes wide left. He did get the shot off, but it goes out. They are not, I'm not sure the flag went up. It's not for an offside. I believe it was just indicating the goal kick. It wouldn't have affected much. All that would have happened is the ball would have been kicked from like about 10 yards further up if they had called offside. So not a huge difference, all things considered. Australia's backfield is controlling the ball. They're trying to generate some offense here, but the problem is that defensive line of Egypt has been extremely difficult to deal with. Anytime they try to get it to their attackers and get a clean shot off, they have been dealing with just constant pressure. They've had 3 shots, but none of them have actually been in a position where the Australian team actually, where the Egyptian goalkeeper actually has to make a play off of it. Ball goes out. We are looking at, I think it might be a corner. Yep, it is going to be a corner. The Egyptian challenge sent the ball out. We are nearly 22 minutes into this match, by the way, which means the first real break after this corner is likely going to be the hydration break. They are having this at Jerry World, normally called AT&T Stadium. It is currently being called, I believe, Dallas Stadium. Ball goes up from the corner. Goes straight out for a goal kick. We are past 22 minutes. Are they going to call for it? They've not called for hydration break. Oh, wait. Here's the whistle. Yep, they have them stepping off. So this will be a hydration break. Looks like it'll have started around the 22:20 mark. How that affected the win probability, Egypt now has a 2/3 chance almost of winning, 66 in regulation. A 1/4 chance, 25%. There is extra time, and Australia is now down to a 9% chance at a regulation win. And I think a lot of that boils down to the fact that we are now a quarter through the time, and Australia has 4 shots, but none of them on target, meaning the keeper has not had to actually stop anything in these entire first 22 and change minutes. Possession has also not favored them. Egypt's possession has climbed a little bit to 68%, so they now have more than double the amount of possession time that Australia has had. They have also nearly doubled Australia in terms of passes. Australia has 85. Egypt is sitting at 164. And so 170 would be double. They have not reached that yet. Pass accuracy, 91 to 82 in favor of Egypt. They've had 1 fewer foul. Now, Australia, to their credit, has gotten more set plays. They've gotten 2 corners, which has generated a couple shots for them as scoring opportunities. It just, nothing is really manifested for them. Looking at the players here. Yeah, the favoring on it doesn't really. The advantage is definitely not to Australia when you actually look at the rosters. Just looking at the teams that they have. Like, I'm not seeing a lot of, like, big-time units that they're playing for. I see 2 MLS players for Australia. One of their backs appears to be playing for Colorado Rapids. I think that's their logo. And New York City FC has a midfielder. There's also 2 playing at the lower levels of English football. Leicester City, one of their backs, as well as a striker from Watford. Over on the Egyptian side, admittedly, you do have quite a few players from the Egyptian League. However, you have 2 very notable exceptions here. Salah from Liverpool. I don't know why I said Leicester again. But no, Liverpool is in this match, as well as Marmoush from my team, Manchester City. So on that front line, the attack is very much elite. You have people who have a history of being very successful there. And looking from the bench, seeing if anything else is shifted. We have some A-League. We have a player from Hearts on Australia on the bench. We have a player from Niigata from the A-League. League A in Japan. Norwich City. Swansea. And then again, a lot of players from the Egyptian League going, but they do have a player on the bench from Barca, one from Real Oviedo. So yeah, it's definitely not close in terms of their prestige. Match has begun again. It is a throw-in for Australia. They immediately try to press it forward. It is now gone. Rolling through, a player just controlling it, gets into the attacking third before it's finally forced out of bounds. But that will go to Egypt, and the momentum is stuffed. Alright, so ball's gone out here. Now, one thing that'll happen here at halftime is I will do a record of the match previews for NWSL as they are finally back in action. Alright, so we have a free kick to Egypt. They decide to take the ball themselves, kick it back. So it is now sitting right around midfield. They're finally starting to press it a little forward. Decent pressure from Australia. They're not really coming up and forcing anything. So they're willing to let the Egyptians walk with the ball a little bit as long as it's not directly towards the goal. And at the first time pressure, Egypt sends it all the way back to the keeper who launches it forward. They're definitely being more secure in all this. They're not testing anything. Not they're ahead. They feel content to control the pace. Checking through the stats on this. Let's see. Yeah, I'm doing some quick updates here on the side, so see me checking my book of things. Do not be alarmed. Right. Yeah, not a lot going here now. 30 minutes in, it has basically been just a lot of control going on, especially with the Egyptian ball. They know the less we see Australia with the ball, the less danger they're in, and they do appear to be competent enough to control possession. Australia's still sitting at about 10% chance here, but they are now more than doubled on passes. Egypt has completed over 200. Australia has not hit their 100th yet. This time there is a challenge. The foul is called on Egypt. He arrived late and caught the Australian player in the leg. But the landing actually hurt the Egyptian player. So we're going to have time added here beyond just the hydration break. Yeah, he is down. Question is, are they going to have to use a sub or just get him off to the side? So now we're just waiting on him to get up there. It is an unfortunate scenario, but yeah, looking through. Ooh. It's been this actually looks like a promising first week back for NWSL. We got some decent matchups here. Yeah, it's looking good so far. We have an interesting Sunday in general. Obviously, the games today, I have a vested interest in one of them, so we'll talk about that here as the halftime comes up. He has been cleared off, so ball was pressed forward. Egypt now with the ball again. Goalie kicks it forward into the offensive half. There we go. And not much to this point. Australia finally in control of the ball. Can they actually get an offensive attack running? Ball is currently in the possession of the back line. They try to get back into the midfield, but it's promptly kicked back. It is a swarm of red jerseys anytime they try to get it into the middle of the field. They finally force it all the way to the left, and they're getting some room to run. Across to try to get into the box, misses wildly. Australian player is able to corral it right before it goes out on the right side. So now a chance to maybe try again. Ball goes into the box. Egypt intercepts it. But on the attempt to kick it forward, a very ill-advised pass gets it back to the Australians. Ball is forced out of bounds. Australia gets a throw-in. Indirect line of the box. So it's a chance to throw it in, see if they can make something happen. Nearly 35 minutes gone in this. Throw goes in. Overshoots, but it gets bounced over to the top of the box. Australian player tries to shoot. It is stopped fairly easily on a by the keeper who falls on it. Ball goes up again. 50-50. Ball is deflected. Goes out of bounds. They're giving it to Australia, even though they were the one challenging the Egyptian who had just seized control of the ball. So it is now another chance right around midfield for Australia. They kick it forward. Can their player corral this? It appears he was about to, but it took him so long to get it down. The Australian keeper, the Egyptian keeper, just comes up and pulls it right away from him. Yeah, right as he was going to be able to take the kick, like Lucy Van pelts it and just pulls it. Ooh, foul definitely on that one. This should be a free kick to Australia as they tried to move up. Ball was taken, but player gets taken out in the process. Yeah, one of the Egyptians grabbed onto the jersey. Now, he grabbed onto it a good bit before he actually fell, so I do think he fell as a result of his own lack of balance after the fact, but he probably should have been called earlier for the actual grab anyway. Here's a chance, a give and go. Can he get to it? Kick by Australia is blocked by an Egyptian defender sliding before it can get crossed into the box, and it just rolls out. This should be a corner. Here we go. My ball's rolled over. Yeah, the corner had failed pretty quickly. Ball goes up. Australia eventually corralled it, sent it back to their keeper. They tried to reset and launched it forward, and once again, Egyptian keeper with it. He had it on the ground for a bit, was pressured, so he picks up and rolls it. Ball goes back to him. Goalie runs up on it. Player runs up at the goalie. He kicks it over to his right this time. And now Egypt is able to run uninterrupted into the offensive half. 39 minutes gone here, everybody. The match has definitely been pretty definitive so far. Australia's chances haven't adjusted really much since the hydration break, it's still sitting around 9%. That 9% very much hinges on a goal relatively quickly. It could be like the match between Belgium and Senegal where they reel off 2 goals in the span of about 4 minutes, very late, but seems like seeing that multiple times because it happened there. It also happened in the England match. I don't know if it'll be happening 3 times in one round. But this would be the confederation where it seems to be happening because both the Democratic Republic of the Congo, it happened to them against England, Senegal, it happened against Belgium. So where right now we'd be looking at potentially the 4th team from Africa getting through with a prospect of 6 still an option. This would just be their 2nd with a prospect of 4 still as an option. And that is the difference just in those late game scenarios with less than 20 minutes to go after holding their own. Both Senegal and the DR Congo giving up those matches. And so here we go. 2 players up. First man runs past, second one kicks it over to the center. Long ball is kicked, header attempted, Australian player deflects it. Kicks it out, it'll be a throw into Egypt. Only thing I can figure as to why the AFC had just such a poor showing relatively, where potentially they're going to get shut out of the round of 16 and only 2 even get into the round of 32. I do wonder if it is the fact that the time difference is so much wider compared to the other continents. And also, I think climate came into play, like, for some of the teams. Like, obviously, you're not getting this same climate at this time of year if you're in Australia. You're not getting that increase in Japan or Korea. So there was a lot at play here. Here we go. Australia trying to control, but yeah, constant challenge here. The climate, I doubt, is going to be an issue here if you're playing for Egypt. Like, desert climate is not going to be intimidating. If anything, it would be the humid climates. And within the confines of Jerry World, that's going to be somewhat mitigated. Here we are. We're at nearly 43 minutes in. This will be a throw-in for Egypt after Australia had been calling for a foul. He felt he had been taken down. I don't think really it was enough to warrant it because they were both challenging each other. Here comes the throw. Give and go to the guy just as he steps in. Kicks it out forward. Now that one, are we calling foul? Nope, doesn't look like it's going out of bounds, and that should be a throw-in for Australia. Australia's odds have finally dropped a little bit. They have gone down to 8%. Obviously, they can't go down too much farther because we know the prospect exists, but something will have to change at some point. Australia has possessed the ball a little longer as Egypt has seemingly moved to control for halftime mode. And so they're not being as aggressive at the moment. And so the possession percentage for Australia has climbed up to 38. They've also gained a little on the passes. They're up to 157. Still very much behind the 240 of Egypt, but they've improved as the match has gone on, and I do think Egypt has gone a little more protection mode as we've gotten closer to halftime. They know this is their chance to not really they can play it a little more straight up once they come back. Back and forth kicking right now. Egypt mostly controlling possession here. They do get it up on the field. Ball goes long right when they're trying to hit the center striker. Australia trying to turn it into a counter. It goes long. It's going to go, doesn't really go into the box, so the keeper can't make a play on it. Ball is going to roll out. That should be a goal kick. The first 45 minutes are very nearly complete. We will be seeing in a few moments how much time they're planning to add. We have had players going down, so it won't just be the hydration break number. There it is. They've announced 5 minutes. Sounds about right, because they took about a 3 to 4 minute break, and there was one injury that took a little bit of time there, and they held off on actually blowing the whistle on it as long as they could. So 5 minutes. It would not surprise me if it's 5 and change. But it's closer to 5 minutes than to 6. There's a chance of Egypt kicking into the box. A header is done, and it's very soft and is able to be picked up by the Australian keeper. I don't know if that was even on target based on the way it was bouncing. Australia on their right side, trying to set up some sustained attack here to see if they can put some pressure on during injury time. Ball moves up. We have a player with it. He's got a winger. Kicks it from the top of the box. It curves, but not enough. It did go past the goalie, but mostly because it was extremely wide. Go. All right, ball going here still. Australia trying to control. Not been a lot of movement here 2 minutes into the injury time here. So not a lot being accomplished. Ball kicked back. Backfield trying to launch it in. Here's the opportunity. Pretty much goes off an Egyptian play, but he's not able to really control it. It just rolls out to the Australian left flank. They kick it into the box. Ball is headed, but it's partially headed by both players from both teams, and the ball just kind of bounces flat at the goalie's feet. They've not blown the whistle for an injury, though we do have an Egyptian player down. Are they going to call for it at some point? They have not yet. A whistle was blown for seemingly an unrelated foul here as we approach the 3-minute mark of the injury time. Comes lots of difficulty here as they try to press forward again, but there is no one really in range of that ball. Egypt is fairly comfortable with it. Bouncing back and forth until they can get a long kick. They finally achieve it. It's in the defensive half of Australia before they take back control. It is on their right side. Australia trying to get an attack through here before halftime. No whistle blown yet. It's all been clean, according to the refs. We're 4 minutes gone. An attempt to shoot. Just ball gets deflected. Now goes off an Egyptian player's face on the second attempt. It's finally kicked away. Australia wants to be able to get this thing level, but I don't think it's happening in this half. Question will be, when is injury time actually shut down? I would assume it is in the next 60 seconds. If we're in the last minute of injury time and it's the first half, I would assume if a player is down, they are just going to not even add time to it. They're just going to blow the whistle for the half. And they are thinking to finally bring in the trainers here because the player has been down for a while. But we're 5 minutes in on injury time. I don't think they are going to add time to this. Australia wants there to be time. But they want to be able to have time to get to him. But I think the ref is in the mindset, we are seconds away from halftime. I'm not extending this half. And yeah, that's basically what's happening. They are stopping it there. So that concludes the half then. There we go. Halftime has been reached. We are at the half. So you're going to activate it where it says half. There we go. So Egypt will be back in business here now. They will be kicking off at the start of the second half. So we will see what happens from there. All right. I'm going to step off for a moment while I finish up the slide for the preview here. And then I'll be doing probably both of them all at once. Just it's easier to run them during the halftime for me. Those of you who are waiting for those previews when they go up normally, or if you haven't heard them before, you'll get them here during halftime. The first one will likely go up shortly after. It'll be the preview of the week's matches. That'll show up shortly after the match ends. And then the one for Angel City itself will occur probably, let me look at the timings of these matches. It'll probably go up very shortly before the first match of the night. So they'll be separated by about 3.5 hours. I think first one will probably go up around like 1:15. The other one goes up around 4:45. All right. So stepping off for a moment. You'll see me in a bit. All right, I think we are back to action here. It's still at halftime, but I do have things I will be going to here. Okay. All right, so let's see. I'm just adjusting what I see here. There we are. Yep, I got it. There it is. So that is ready. So let me get this started. What is up, everybody? Calling all angels. We are talking NWSL, the return after this month off from everything we have been waiting for. We are finally back in the game. We're back at it. Let's see what is coming here for all these squads as we move forward. Before we do any of that, however, we do need to make one quick adjustment to the action. Oh, that's not the one. And that is my screen here. I'm going to shrink it down. There we go. All right, we do have one thing that needs to be covered. Before we get to the actual matches that are coming this week, we do need to talk about Gotham FC versus Kansas City Current. This occurred last week while World Cup was going on. It was airing on Amazon Prime, so I was not able to do much with it. It should still be clearly visible, even though we do have a score bug up at the moment. But we have Gotham FC facing Kansas City Current. This is the battle of the Shield winner, Kansas City, and the Cup winner, Gotham. This is called the NWSL Challenge Cup. It originally was a league-wide tournament that occurred during 2020 when a full season was not possible, and has since evolved into what is functionally the NWSL's Super Cup, and they decided to run it here the week before the long World Cup break wrapped up. Gotham FC handling their business 2-0. We had a penalty kick late in the first half. Esther Gonzalez put the team ahead. In the second half, Jordan Dudley picked up a goal right before the 80th minute, unassisted. Tierna Davidson picked up the game's only booking, a yellow card. So it was all Gotham for the most part. Kansas City's one bright spot was they did manage to get 3 shots on target, all of which were stopped by the keeper, to Gotham's 2, one of which was scored. The other was saved. PK obviously not counted on there. Gotham was leading the time of possession for it. Ultimately, this game does not count much towards the standings. I bring it up mostly because, one, it is a trophy, but also it has been the only American women's football that we've had for the last month. So we are all very happy, very grateful that something had occurred, and there is something within the league to go over. Thought I'd go over that really quick. All right, talked about it here long enough. Let's get back to the matches that tied the standings, and that begins with this Independence Day weekend slate of matches. So, beginning today at 8 Eastern over in Washington, D.C., we've got Washington Spirit back to action against Houston Dash in what should be a match pretty straightforward here. You would expect Washington to come out guns a-blazing, just going through, getting the quick 3 points as they are now in competition for that first place mark. Houston, I have held is been a little bit of an early season mirage. Facing teams of very high quality like this, we should expect Washington to step up at this stage. We are more than 10 matches in. Everyone has played more than a third of their season. We should start seeing a measure of control and expectation. So I'm going to give Washington probably a multi-goal victory, to be honest. I don't know if Houston really generates any offense. I would say this could be a 2-0, 3-0, at best 3-1 for Washington. So I think Houston gets pretty definitively beaten here. Additionally, we look at Denver hosting Kansas City. This is an interesting one because Kansas City is sitting back up in competition with those top 6 teams as the top 6. They want to make a name for themselves, get back into competition where they are fighting for home field in that first round. See if they can get themselves back in there as a Shield contender. But they are at Denver with a team that has outpaced their expectations. As far as an expansion year goes, they are sitting right at the edge of the playoff picture right now. They are just on the outside looking in. I think Denver does give them some problems. I think Denver gets an early lead, but Kansas City levels it. This one I'm going to give as a draw. I'm going to say it goes 1-1. Denver has looked good so far. I do think they're good enough to get a lead against Kansas City, but I don't think they're strong enough to actually maintain it all the way to the finish. We also have a third match here. I will be previewing this one separately, Angel City versus Orlando. This is a rematch of a game that was held in Orlando very early in the season. This was the team that upended Angel City's undefeated record at the beginning of the year and started this downhill spiral. Angel City at home should be much more game for them. They've made some roster shifts. We've already gone over that in a previous video. But there's also a change in coach, so this could be very, very iffy. I'm going to give it to Angel City, though, because this does feel like one of those step up and prove yourself kind of days where you have to show this isn't on us. The coaching change was not on us. The locker room player changes were not on us. So I do think Angel City shows up in front of their fans, step up, get their business taken care of. I'm going to give them a 2-1 victory. And we will see. I think this will be a very important test for Angel City because if they're going to be a serious contender for the playoffs, they need to beat a team who's currently clinging to the 8th seed. A win here would put them 1 point away from being in the playoffs. And that needs to be your focus now. You start of the year, going into that break, maybe you thought you had a shot at the Shield, get the actual true regular season title. That is not an option here. You need to just get in the top 8, get yourself to the playoffs, see if you can get some victories, maybe get hot, reel off a run there. We're approaching the halfway point. It's time to lock in. It's time to show that you can finish. And I'll talk again more about that later on. I don't want to spend too much time on it in this one. July 4th, North Carolina versus Seattle. This one is a matchup between two teams who are very much on the fringes. One is on the inside, barely looking out. One is on the outside, looking in. Neither one is particularly impressive. Both teams have underachieved compared to what you would have thought. And so I am going to say that, I'm just going to, you're wondering why I am zooming in here. Oh, that's not mine. I'm trying to get myself in here. There it is. I'm going to zoom back in here for a moment because I do need to start the timer. There's the kickoff. All right, so the match should be running now properly there. All right, I'm going to move this back down. Apologies, I just needed to adjust that as I said. We are running simultaneously here. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to say on this one, North Carolina at home. been playing a little hotter than Seattle. I'm going to give them a 1-0 victory. San Diego and Gotham, very much a clash of two top 5 teams. Gotham's at least had a match with Kansas City to get themselves warmed up again. So I am actually going to say, even though San Diego's near the top, I'm actually going to go with an upset here, and that they struggle to score. They have been good at late game heroics, but I think they take a 2-1 loss here. Gotham gets a lead early. San Diego's not able to respond all the way. And I will give Gotham a 2-1 victory on the team that currently sits atop the standings here. Moving into Sunday. Boston and Bay. Battle of two teams in the lowest quarter of the league. Both teams are trying to establish that they can actually manage something here. I'm going to say at home, Boston should be more game for it, but I'm going to ultimately rule a draw because Bay made some moves that I think were actually very good for their roster. So I'm going to say it actually works through. They click early, but they don't know how to maintain it long term. Boston reels back, levels the match. I'll go 1-1 draw. Chicago and Utah. This one should very clearly be a Utah victory. They are so much higher up on the totem pole right now than Chicago in terms of just their footballing ability. Additionally, Chicago has had to make some front office changes. Not all has been going swimmingly, to say the least. Utah fighting for that top position. I think they're going to be stepping up quite a bit here. I think this ends up being a 2-goal victory. I'm going to say that they get a 2-0 win on this. And then the closeout, we have Portland and Louisville. Again, this is a unique one because with Portland, they are a significantly better team than Louisville. Louisville's sitting at the back of the standings right now. They're a contender right now for the wooden spoon. There is an injury right now on the field, and it looks like a stretcher has come out, by the way. Australia and Egypt is happening at this time, and yeah, we have a stretcher for one of the Egyptian players, so there's going to be some time added here. Getting back to Portland and Louisville, though, stylistically, Louisville is the kind of team that would give Portland a problem. Portland likes to hang back and counterattack very much so. It ends up being that the team on offense ends up generating a lot more in every game, but Portland gets the better opportunities later. Louisville actually managed to steal a game off of them when they were in Kentucky just because they did that. That said, I do not think it goes as well here when they go to Portland. Not only has a lot of time passed, but Louisville has revealed itself as a lot more dysfunctional. One of their players, Sears, has requested a trade out. So we'll see what kind of adjustment happens there. I would certainly not oppose it on my squad. But I can see right now this is a difficult spot. I think there's some dysfunction in the locker room. Some stuff is going to have to change. I'm going to say Portland actually ends up winning this thing fairly comfortably. Louisville still scores, but they drop a 3-1 defeat. So that is our preview for the week. And yeah, this should be interesting. I do not know specifically which game gets lived. It will not be any of the ones today. The matches, in terms of their timing, it's dawned on me that the North Carolina one is actually, I think, off by a little bit. I think that's actually supposed to be 6:30 because it would be a 3:30 start, and I believe that's how it's actually running. But yeah, I don't think my timing works well on the 4th because that is around the time that we're going to have actual stuff going on. But it'll be nice to have those games on to be able to watch on my own. Sunday is probably the one that has the best shot. If it is, it'll be the Boston versus Bay one in the early morning. If not, I'll do 2 matches next week to cover and make up for that one. Yeah, we should have some decent matches that next week as well. So we'll talk about those at a later point. But for now, we are ready for this. Enjoy your football. Be glad that the NWSL is back. And go, Angels. Alright, so I am now moving back into the main screen. I'll do the Angel City preview on my own after this match wraps. We are 5 minutes in. Player got carted off. Still 1-0 as we complete the 51st minute. Australia with the ball. Victory odds have shifted. Egypt is now at a 69% chance of victory to Australia's 7. Extra time is sitting at 24%. Australia actually does have more shots on target now. They have had 2 that the Egyptian keepers had to save. Another shot taken here, but this one deflected by the Egyptian defender, so it never actually gets to the keeper or near the net. So the way it's looking right now, possession has evened out more, 58 to 42%. Passes are still in favor of Egypt, but 275 to 245. It's much, much closer. Pass accuracy, Australia's has climbed up to 84, so it's approaching the 89 of Egypt. So we're starting to see a balance out again. But as time progresses and we move out of these as we start to approach the end of the first 10 minutes, where equalizers usually happen, the percentage for Australia is dropping. It has fallen to 6. That percent, the extra percent that it was at, has gone towards extra time. And that's the thing. As we get further and further along, Australia is not a multi-goal team, and they don't have the gap in roster where you would expect multiple goals. At this point, it is, what is the chances of an equalizer? Are they able to generate it? And Egypt, so far, has shown a very competent defensive set. I know they are playing a little bit more reserved now because they're ahead. And there's another attempt to be for a cross. Egypt kicks it straight out of bounds. What I have to look at, though, if you are on the Egyptian side, you have to be thinking, if I can get an opening, I want to take it. Like, I need to get that second goal because the 1 goal of padding basically obliterates the chances Australia wins this in regulation. Like, at that point, the odds plummet to basically nothing. And Australia is just looking to try to reel 2 goals off for extra time. That's what you have to be thinking on this. Like, a second goal basically guarantees your run extends, even if it's just by 30 minutes. But more than likely, it'll be by another game. In any case, there is a free kick coming on Australia's left side. This will be at the bottom of the screen. They're now moving right to left. We have 2 players up at the wall line for Egypt to try to adjust the angle of the kick. Kick is made. Here's the header, and it worked! It actually worked for him! And that leveled the match! Ooh, that was a poorly done move on Egypt's part. They had their second player running up very late, and in the confusion, they gave Australia the perfect angle to level the match. That was very poorly handled on the part of Egypt, and I'm amazed they gave them that easy of a set play here in the first 10 minutes. The win probability is updating now, and yeah, that shifted a lot. Right now, the odds of extra time are at 49%, so it's a plurality. Not the majority yet, but that will definitely get there as time moves on. In terms of regulation victory, Australia is actually the favorite, 28 to 23. And I think a lot of that is just the general momentum. Egypt has allowed Australia to dictate pace pretty much since the second half started. They've had more shots on target. Egypt hasn't really made a press for any since they scored. They've been pretty content, and if I'm Egypt, I gotta adjust this strategy. This is not cutting it. All right, the percentage has shifted. Egypt is now once again the preferred favorite at 27 to 25. So the probability is still fluid. It hasn't actually locked in. And no substitutions have been made yet in terms of like actual planned ones here. There was basically a substitution that had to happen, but like other than that, we've got like we had a sub right at the early beginning of the half. We had Australia had subbed out Jordan Boss, their defender, for Kai Treywin. And actually, I was looking at who was going to get credited with it because Imam Ashur, the midfielder for Egypt, had gotten the first goal. This one is given to Mohamed Hani from Egypt as an own goal. So the kick for the goal here, I thought it had been off an Australian head, but no, it actually had gone off an Egyptian head into the net. So now that we've exited the first 10 minutes and things are settled, Egypt is now back in more control of the ball. They appear to be a lot more fixated. So it does seem that things have changed. The worm has turned, as it were, and Egypt is now back to maintaining control of the ball. That said, they just lost it on a bad pass. We'll see if this has adjusted what's happening here. But right now, Egypt, 27% chance of regulation win. Australia, a 20% chance. And the majority opportunity now is extra time, sitting at 53%, as we are nearly an hour into the match. Egypt sends the ball back to their keeper. They reset, try to run another play here. They've not actually had a shot yet, but they have pretty firmly seized back control of the ball. They are not really willing to let Australia cook anymore. Ball's pressed forward onto Egypt's left. They swing it over to the right. They're at the top of the box trying to get it in. About 7 players from Australia packed right around that entrance trying to not let anything pass, and it worked out. Ball is forced back to the defensive line of Egypt. Well, again, trying to make something happen. They don't want that tightening right in the middle where they're not able to really make anything happen. And then looking through here. We go. Just checking one thing here. There we go, just making a quick adjustment on my screen here. All right, so player down here for Australia, he's pulled back up. 59.5 minutes in here. It's going to be a free kick very far back on the field here. So it is in range of the net, but it is a distance. So they're not going to probably be able to do it just off of the kick. They're going to try to dump it into the box. Here goes a chance at the lead. Ball very wide. That ball carried in the opposite direction of where they wanted it. Egypt just knocks it out of the box. Ball's still in place. Like, a lot of good passes working here for Australia. They attempt to control the top of the box. Right now sitting on just in the center. Maybe slightly to the left. Now they push to their left side. Ball tries to go into the box. Deflected by the Egyptian defense. And now ball kicked out cleanly. Challenge for the ball. No. Is there a whistle blown? Yep, there it is. I was going to say, Australia knocked over an Egyptian player there to get control of the ball. And yeah, it's going to be a free kick to Egypt. Good times here. Alright, I did just set the thing to upload. It does seem like we're working fine, though. Still good reception. Alright, so here it is. Egypt's now finally pressing the ball up. Offside called, and once again, Australia with it. Is this affecting things? Like, I mean, what I'm looking at, this has not been an impressive string. Like, even though Egypt is still technically ranking higher, like, in terms of the actual odds of victory, they have not shown me much that they've actually been able to fully respond yet. Now, that might change in a little bit because we are going to... We're almost 20 minutes in, so in about 5 minutes, the hydration break will kick in. But until that occurs, Egypt has not looked really right. And now Australia is playing with a lot more aggression, a lot more belief in themselves. That is definitely being a difference maker right now. This will be a throw-in to Egypt, but it is still in their defensive half. Like, this is not looking good. If you are a fan of the Egyptian team right now, they have not shown really a big shift in the action here. And I don't think we'll see a substitution here. They didn't really make one yet. So I doubt we'll see one before the hydration break, because we're already 64 in, and we know in the next 3 to 4 minutes it's going to happen. Though if I'm Egypt, I might actually consider doing it just to delay things a little bit. Like, make an adjustment to what has been happening, because this has not flowed well for them. Australia currently just passing it back and forth in their back line, trying to find an opening. They finally send it to the right side. They're not able to get any farther because the Egyptian defense rushed it. But there is not that, like, the swarm of red jerseys is not present this time around like it had been. And right now, Egypt passing it in their defensive half, trying to just see what they can make happen. Ball going back and forth. They finally get into the front half, barely. Midfielders still playing with it. Try to get it ahead, but yeah, it is a Australia is packing it in the center. Like, there is not a lot of room to really make anything happen for them. A sliding ball intercepts a pass from Australia here. So this might be a chance to actually rush in. Ball's passed through. It is stopped by another Australian leg who force it back out. Defensive line with it again. What is going on there? I shrank for a second. We're nearly 66 minutes in here. So again, we have to be looking at the hydration break timing coming. It's any time after the 67th minute. So we are rapidly approaching it. Pass through. They can't get through the pack of yellow jerseys. Ball on the right side. They cross it in again off of an Australian leg. It's not out of the woods yet. Attempt to boot it away is deflected. Ball is forced out by the Egyptians, but that should be a goal kick. They are going to do the substitution now, right before the break. So I think they know it's not working. So they're doing a sub window to replace 2 players. And that will allow the next stoppage after this to be the actual water break. Both substitutions happen. There's the throw-in. It is currently a few seconds short. I see Masano and also I couldn't read the second name. But we have 2 players in. I'll look through it again here. It should come up on Google's timeline once we hit the hydration break. We are past 67 minutes now, so the next stoppage in the order of action should be the 1. Player got knocked over. It is a foul. That should be a free kick to Australia. I don't think they usually stop off of fouls. At least I haven't seen it yet. But it looks like they are going to do it in this case because it wasn't... The guy got up. There wasn't an issue. But they're going to take the hydration break here. So I will say probably around the 67:30 mark was when they made that call. So as of this hydration break, the odds of extra time now appear to be very likely. It currently sits as we clear 68 minutes here. That extra time is now at 59%. So we are nearly at a 60% chance of extra time. Egypt still has the better shot at winning in regulation than Australia. Not sure why. Extra time just went up to 60 now as we've crossed 68 minutes. So 60% of extra time, 23% Egypt wins in regulation, 17% Australia wins in regulation. Possession is now down to 56 in Egypt's favor to 44 for Australia. Passes, Egypt has gotten more passes again. They're back up to nearly 400, 392 to be exact. Australia at 312. So they are slowly working back their control, but it has been a crawl. They're going to need this break, I think, to really recalibrate. So yeah, there were 2 substitutions here. Mustafa Ziko, the midfielder for Egypt, went off in favor of Hasim Hassan, who is a striker, number 12. So they're trying to get more aggressive. But they're also clearing out their midfield a bit as Hamdi Fathi steps out in favor of defender Hassam Abdel Magoud. And so number 14 steps off, number 4 steps on. So they're going a little more polarized. They're giving up their midfield specialization in favor of more explicit offensive and defensive action. Curious how that will affect things for them. Might mean their 50-50 becomes a little more difficult to maintain. At this stage, the only substitution for Australia was a defensive substitution, so defender for a defender, which leads me to think that was more fatigue than anything else. Players are coming back onto the field as we've crossed into the 71st minute. this creates an interesting situation for sure. Over the course of that break, extra time has become more likely as it sits at 61%. But this creates a very interesting dynamic here as we are now less than 20 minutes in. There has been late heroics for teams during these last 20, so we will see if the rise of a more aggressive play for Egypt actually affects things, or if it'll leave open a hole where Australia is able to take action. Are we calling a foul there? Does not appear to be. Egyptian player pulled down an Australian. They're not interrupting flow. Kick into the box, gets deflected. Egypt with the ball again. They are moving forward. It just does not feel like Egypt has gotten off their back heel completely yet. They haven't pulled a shot yet that really makes you recalibrate if you're Australia, and that is becoming an issue. Obviously, you've got time that you're thinking about here as well. You're seeing what could change in the timing, but I actually haven't gotten to do any stuff with actual, when it comes to extra time, resetting the clock there. So timer duration will adjust. And I will adjust that in the settings once things change. What I will do is I probably won't go up to 120. What I will do instead is I will reset the clock and we'll count up to 30. I mean, functionally it'll be the same thing, but, you know, just be a little easier for me if I do it that way. Right. Again, clicking the thing here. So I never really closed the tab, and it took a lot of adjustment so that I didn't have to do a lot of commands on it. I was just trying to do it with mouse. We do have our sub window for Australia. Second player coming in here. 74th minute. It will be 2 players going out, 2 players coming in. They had done 1 player right at the start of the half. Volpato and Yarkunda leaving. Torre and Hrustic coming in. So that is the shift in the action there. Waiting for the update to come through. Look at it in a moment here just to see how that will affect the actual setup. Right now, Australia still in pretty firm control of the ball here as we cross into the 75th minute. Still waiting to see a real adjustment from the Egyptian side. The thing about clearing out your midfield is it means 50-50 balls go more in Australia's favor. And at this point, both substitutions were offensive in the case of Australia. Volpato had been one of the strikers. Hrustic replacing him, number 20 for number 10. Still on the striking line. Same thing up on the front with Australia. Irankunda was a striker, number 17, stepping off. Toure, another striker, number 9, coming in. So it's more just replacing fresh legs. The formation for Australia has not shifted. And what that tells me is they are more comfortable in how this match is flowing. The change in who you're going for on Egypt tells me they are trying to make an adjustment at the ends because they're noticing they're coming up short offensively and defensively, and they were trying to load. So strategically, Australia is actually dictating more control of the action. They're feeling better about their position, even though if you look analytically right now with the win probability, their odds of a regulation win are actually worse than Egypt's. Though at this stage, both teams do have to be considering that extra time is probably the most likely solution, as we are nearly 76 minutes in here, and the odds of anyone picking up a goal is becoming more and more slim as control falls more into the hands of just the teams just playing not to lose. Take the time now and then use those 30 minutes to try to adjust strategy. Both teams have scored within the first 15 minutes of a respective half. So, both teams have to be looking from the perspective of, if we get to 15-minute periods, we do have an opportunity to score. There will be enough time where we could center it and make it happen. That said, extra time is now sitting at 65%. Egypt's odds of victory within the time frame is down to 20%. Australia's is down to 15%. Ball goes along. Egypt sends the ball out just as it's entering the box. Stayed on the field of play, amazingly. So the flow keeps going. Australia tries to take a shot. It's deflected. Ball is kicked away finally by the Egyptian defender, but it is not out of the woods. It's going back and forth on headers. Yeah, just watching the flow of this game, it is amazing how things have shifted. Egypt definitely overloaded early on to try to maintain control, and the fact that they didn't get that insurance goal, I think might have bitten them, because right now Australia is the team playing more full of beans than anything else. And here we are now, nearly 78 minutes into this match. Possession has definitely been in Australia's favor lately. It hasn't shifted all the way. Possession is still 56-44 on Egypt's side, but it does feel like when it's on the offense, when it's in the attacking third of Australia, it stays there even when the Egyptians are holding onto the ball. Passes are now fairly tight. It's 417 to 386. Pass accuracy, Egypt has stayed at 89. It's been consistent, but the passing percentage of Australia has been steadily climbing, meaning they've gone a very long period without really making a lot of mistakes. They're sitting up above 90% probably for the half, and that's why they're gaining so considerably. We do have an Egyptian player down. It is interesting. I figured they would be better with the endurance being in Dallas, but it has not borne out. We say Dallas, but this is technically Arlington. But so looking out here, the odds have actually improved for Australia. Their odds have gone up from 15 to 16, where Egypt's has dropped down to 18%. So the possession that Australia has managed is showing up. And a substitution has happened. Karim Hafez has stepped off. That was a forced substitution that happened here just due to injury. They're trying to maintain some flow. So that should be their second window. They only went with one sub, so they will have a third window with the other two slots to go. I'm going to try to pronounce it here. Trezeguet. With Karim Hafez injured, they forced him off. So number 15, the defender, coming in for a striker. Number 7. So they are loading up on offense. So this tells me a couple of things. First, Egypt is thinking in terms of they're still strong enough. They're going more polar opposites, loading up defensively, and they're probably even telling their midfield to get back a little bit. And the reason why you're doing that is you are no longer concerned about controlling the middle, which means they're willing to accept Australia will probably have possession more, but they're hoping off of a busted play they will have more attacking options so that they might be able to generate a goal if the opportunity arises. Right now the ball was in the box, but the Egyptian defenders were pretty sturdy and got rid of it. Ball goes up for a header, and Egypt's goalie has it down. But what's basically happening now is you are loading up offensively, player down for Egypt again, and they are crowding the ref, demanding a foul here on Toure from Australia. It's like it is not happening. They will likely get a free kick here since the keeper did have possession. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, as we are in the 82nd minute here, it is control for Egypt. They aren't calling it as a free kick, but they did have everyone separate since they had to stop anyway. Egypt trying to press forward now. Like I said, you're going to have some difficulty in the middle of the field because you have more specialized people at the front and at the back. But if you can get it to the front, you are going to be a little more dangerous because you have more players who are better off the ball and getting a shot quickly. And the hope for that is that you can get a goal here in the narrower time windows. And if it doesn't work at all, that you can take advantage in the penalties because now you'll have more strikers and more people who you can load up for the PKs. But that said, Egypt's odds of victory have fallen more precipitously. They're down to 16%, where Australia's has only dropped from 15 down to 14. So, and now it's a 70% chance of extra time as we are now more than 80 minutes into this match. So extra time just becomes the overwhelming likely option here. With both teams realistically just looking to get a cheap goal here. Egypt has loaded up their front to try to take advantage of an opportunity at a cheap goal, where Australia has maintained their formation. If the play comes up, they're not going to say no, but they are fairly content to control time here. Maybe they make those substitutions a little more after the fact. They have two players who can go in still with one more sub window. So maybe you see them adjust more. Yes, our neck had to crack there for a sec. Maybe you'll see it more as we get farther along with the match, that they'll try to bring in more offensive talent. Because you do have one sub window with two players, and I believe you get an additional sub window in the overtime period. So, or extra time, apologies. Possession has shifted. Egypt has now only been, has a 52-48 advantage. The time has been working very much against them here, as they try to start regaining a little more control of this match. But it is clear Australia has been in much better control here as we've carried on. But they haven't really done all that much. Their shots on target haven't gone above 2 in a while. They're getting more shots, but none are really on target. So, yeah, I'm just looking here. The way things have flowed, it feels like Australia has been in more control, but Egypt is setting up to be more built for the extra time frame. And they also do want to make a play here. They're sacrificing the middle field to control any goal opportunities on both sides. So it's an interesting strategy, to say the least. I'm looking at the amount of midfielders here on Australia. They are assisting, trying to make something happen. The Australian keeper has to punch the ball away to prevent any potential headers there as it goes into the box. I am curious how this approach will work. Which one is making the right call? We're about 86 minutes in. It's going to come down to who gets an opportunity, and if no one gets an opportunity, who's got the hotter keeper? Realistically, neither one has faced all that much. Here it is. Once again, Australia in the box, but the defenders are very much in place. It is difficult to generate anything on this side. It was basically 2 Australians versus 4. I think the reason why Egypt maintains some semblance of an odds advantage, 14% to 12, is because their front is featuring some star players. Like, you do have legitimate, like, world-class talent here from the Premier League. And so the superstars, the theory would be that they are going to carry the day. But it does not appear to be set in stone. We have a corner kick here for Australia. If you get a goal here, and they won't get it off before the end of this minute, but in the 88th minute, it becomes difficult. Like, you're running out of opportunities to do something. Here we are. We are in the 88th minute. Will this corner generate a goal for the lead? There is a header, but it does not get through the multitude of people that were standing in front of the net. Try again. Goes into the box. This one's punched away by the keeper. Will Egypt finally be able to corral this? That should be a foul. Yep. Australia knocked some players down to get to that ball. The odds of extra time have gone up considerably. We're at 76% now. I imagine that'll climb up to 80 by the time we hit the 90-minute mark. Slow walking the ball here. Egypt just kind of controlling it around midfield. I think they're in the mindset where they really don't want to go through the Australian midfield. So if the defense just has to control the ball, they will. And that's the thing. The backup was basically able to run uncontested until it got into the attacking third. They want a foul, but honestly, they were so far in, I don't think he really justified it, and it is going to Australia now. 88.5 minutes in here. And incidentally, in terms of how off we are in terms of seconds, my time is at 45, and it's basically turning at the same time as the Telemundo score bug. So in terms of the clock, for me, where I'm seeing it, it's lined up perfectly. Now, I don't know what the delay is, so you might be off a little bit, but that's where I'm seeing it. We are in the 90th minute now, so as I said, this has... the chances of extra time have gone up to very considerably. Egypt and Australia are up against it here trying to get something done. If anyone's going to make a move, it's going to happen relatively quickly. I would expect the third sub window to happen once we hit injury time. Both teams probably have players they want to bring in so that they are more fresh for the 30 minutes, and they want to give them that time to really warm up. We'll see. We are at 89:45, so the 90th minute is almost completed. We're getting into injury time. We will find out how much time is added. I would imagine a substantial amount since a couple players have had to go out specifically due to injury. There it is. We are at 80% chance. Ball goes out. 5 minutes added. You know, the hydration break was pretty short. I guess that makes sense. It was probably around 3 there, and they added 2 for the guys who have had to go out. But this did go off of an Australian player. So it looks like we are going corner kick. This is a corner kick at 30 seconds in to a 5-minute injury time period. I won't add any time to the clock now. I'm just going to allow this to run. So I'll just keep updating you on time as it goes. Ball's still in. The Egyptians haven't let it go out, but it has drifted to their right side. Kick it into the box. Will there be a header? Well, by Australia there was. An attempt at a Pele kick fails. Australia gets it kicked away. Ball will go out. Throw in for Egypt here. The first minute of injury time has passed. The odds have shot through the roof here for extra time. We have an 87% chance. Egypt's chances of a goal during this time frame is 8%. Australia's is 5%. With the way the ball has stayed on this side, I would kind of expect that. I think Australia has decided they're going to settle for extra time. Possession has climbed back up into Egypt's favor again by 54%. They are once again nearly 100% up on passes. Things have started to move back in their favor. I assume a substitution will happen at some point. Neither team has used their third sub window. They might be keeping it in the bank so that they can use it during the first half of injury time. And they will also get an additional one. I don't remember if it's 1 or 2 substitutions that you can make during that window. But now the strategy comes into play. That ball was kicked very poorly. That's going to be... Torre was trying to pass back to his defense. It misses wildly, and he's gifted Egypt a corner here. 2 minutes and 20 seconds in on the injury timer. So here we go. Salah, from the man from Liverpool, standing at the corner to try to generate something. We are now more than halfway through injury time. Ball goes up. Attempt at a header, stopped. Still in the air. Australia forces it out. Egypt down to a 6% chance of a regulation win. 5 for Australia. And, oh! There was the shot, but it was deflected by the Australian keeper's left hand. It forced the ball to just go a little high as we hit the 3-minute mark. The odds of extra time have shot to 90%. This is a corner because that was very clearly a save. The attack is on. From the side, another chance. Nothing. Salah with the ball, shoots it. Stopped by the keeper again. That will be the 3rd shot on target for Egypt. They're finally generating scoring opportunities here in this late run. Having these extra attackers has definitely affected things. And that was a good shot, though. 3:50 in, so a little over a minute probably in the action. Full time in regulation rapidly approaching. We are at a 93% chance of extra time. 3% for an Australian goal, 4% for an Egyptian goal. I feel like the Australian percentage is a tad high considering they have not really had any offense since we've started injury time here. This has pretty much been a sustained attack by Egypt as they attempt to score a goal very late in this frame. Oh, there's a slip. Could this be the opportunity Australia was looking for? No, they have nobody up front to try to do something with this. Stays with the Egyptians here. They attempt to press something forward. There is about 15 seconds left before we hit the 5-minute mark. If there's an attack, I'm assuming they're going to allow it to play out, but we are running short on the time here. Kick goes up. It's clear they want to try to get something into the box. Salah's in the box. He kicks it through. Here's a shot deflected off an Australian leg. It is not there yet. Still in bounds. Are they calling for it? No, they're going to have it count. This will be a throw-in off of another Australian leg. No, it stayed in. It reflects back, but I think they are blowing the whistle. There it is. 90 minutes through. It's over. We are at 1-1. So the odds will shift now to, can someone score in the next 30, or will we have penalties? But that concludes it. We are at period 3 coming up. The timer is reset. Sorry, I'm going to move my screen. Okay, I was off camera for a moment. So we're back to 0 seconds. Period 3, the injury time period. The first half of it will begin. It'll be a 15-minute time frame. And we will see what happens. I'm going to step away for a bit, get myself a little bit of food here. So we'll be back in a moment. All right, we are back in the action here. We're about to be. I'm very excited for this one. We get 30 free minutes here. After 90 minutes playing very even ball, comes down to a 30-minute match. Will someone score? All right, we got the popcorn ready. Let's see what that does. Just a moment. I'm gonna post here. All right, here we go. messed up there. The kickoff will be happening shortly. They are doing, I believe, the coin toss right now. All right, I'm just about ready here. All right, I think we are ready. All right, so I will take this off now, and there we go. Kickoff has started. Screen is froze up. There we go. We should be lined up here. Oh, I'm actually off by a few seconds. There we are. Timed out perfectly this time. So here it is. We have it almost a minute in right now. My timer is about a second fast, at least according to what I'm seeing on the Telemundo score bug. Got popcorn prepped. We got a free kick coming to Australia here 1 minute into the match. Or rather into the over the extra time portion here. So we got some good business here. The ball goes up. Deflected by the Egyptian defense. They're just going high up. It's not going super far, but it leaves the box at least. Allows the defense to reset. Remember, the adjustments for both teams had been, for Australia, they've been maintaining their positions. And their formation is still pretty clear, whereas Egypt load up on defenders and strikers to try to protect the goal as well as be ready for penalty kick should it reach that. As for the match itself, I believe sub windows were used. Yep, the third sub window was used by Australia. They replaced Connor Metcalf, a midfielder, with Nabil, the striker, number 8 for number 11. And they did replace a midfielder with another midfielder. Aiden O'Neill, number 13, out. Paul Ocon Engstler, number 24, onto the field. So, as we look through, Australia's becoming a little more aggressive. But they haven't overcommitted yet. There's a shot from Egypt, but too high. That was Salah again trying to take his shot. But it was too high. Went well past the net. Here we are, 3 minutes in. In terms of the stats, the victory odds have been shifted. They don't have them up during the extra time period. Goal kick goes up off an Egyptian player. So the midfield is narrowing a little bit. We said Australia has switched out one of their midfielders for a striker, so they're becoming... It's getting more aggressive on those sides, but Australia hasn't fully abandoned the formation yet. Foul is called. Toure trying to seize control of the ball. He wasn't able to. So it's a free kick to the Egyptian defense. Send it back to their keeper. Swings it back to the right side of the field, and here we go. Pressing up their right side. Ball now staying with the Egyptian midfielders as they stand right in front of the line. They press it up. Trying to get it up front to the strikers near the top of the box. We're not able to get to it. They still have it. It's sitting right outside of the box, and now it gets deflected in where the Australian keeper stands alone and just takes control of the ball. We are nearly 5 minutes into this 15-minute half. Now, again, because of the length of it, there will not be a hydration break during the extra time frame. They'll go 15 minutes, the halftime of extra time, which will be where you would get your hydration, and then 15 more minutes. Ball through. A lot of jockeying for position right around the midfield stripe. Final control to Egypt, who just runs down the right side. Ball was rolled out. They try to swing it all the way over to the far left. It is deflected by an Australian player. Nothing doing so far. Ball is kicked up. Australia trying to get it back into their offensive half. They are running into red jerseys at every turn. Foul called. It will be a free kick to Australia. Pass accuracy not really changed. Possession was at 55-45. Egypt has completed more than 100 or over 100 passes more. Sits at 563 at 441. Yeah, suddenly the flow of the game has gone back into Egypt's favor as we got to the late stages and as we've gone into extra time. There has been a lot more control on the Egyptian side. Ball pressed forward here. Australia trying to make something happen as they enter the box really for the first time in this half. And they're not able to make anything happen. The ball rolls harmlessly out of bounds. Australian player, I think, calling for a foul here. Oh, okay, he did. It was a shoulder to the neck, but it was incidental. I don't think they were calling it. Nope, they're not calling it. I mean, it's going to happen when two guys are rushing up at the ball. We are nearly halfway through the timer in this half. It's gotten to be intense. It's going to be an interesting one. Here we go. Egypt with the ball on their left side. Sitting right about the midfield stripe. Forces it all the way back to the right back. Who swings it over to the other side of the field. Attempt to run down the opposite side here. 8 minutes out of 15 in this half gone. So if the opening is going to come, it has to happen relatively soon. And now there hasn't been much in the way of pauses, so I don't know if there will even be added time at the rate we're going. At most, it would be a minute. There you go. Ball goes out of bounds. This will be a throw-in. No clarity yet. It does look like it's an Australian throw, though. All right. Here comes the throw. bounces too high, and Egypt's back in control of the ball. Pops up. Nothing doing. Australia's able to head it away. But before they can get it out of their side, Egypt corrals it. They take it to about the midfield stripe, and now they are attempting to regroup. Ball comes up to the front. Egypt strikers with the ball. They're at the edge of the box trying to get their way in. The Australian defenders staying right around the line at the start of the box, trying not to give them that latitude. But they're forced down as more players start pressing downward. Here comes the push into the box. No header coming in. Ball's forced away. It goes out of bounds. And that should be a throw into Australia. 10 minutes into the extra time period. That means 100 minutes overall. Still no credible threats from Australia yet. That's shown by their passing number not really increasing by much, whereas Egypt is about to hit 600 passes completed. What's worth, the match itself has been fairly clean. It's about equal amount of fouls on both sides, 8-10. And no cards for either team. So with no one booked, this has been a relatively smooth match. Ball gets kicked into the box, but Egypt not able to corral it. Ball rolls out. That'll be a goal kick here 11 minutes into this extra time period. Went on the attack here. An offside flag comes up. They try to press forward, and that will be a free kick to Egypt. In the Egyptian backfield, passing it through, they send it to the right side. Seems to be where they're getting their most forward motion. "12 minutes in. Time is running out quickly. Australia has not shown an urgency to really try to press the issue. They are okay, largely sitting on the back heel as long as they can force PKs, which that might be where they think their best chance lies at this point. Egypt does have superior personnel, so you may be seeking, now that you know you can get to PKs where it basically becomes a 50-50 proposition, that might be what you want to do. There's another goal kick. Again, you have strikers there, so if a busted play comes up, you are going to try for it, but I don't know. Right now, you know in 2 minutes, you're going to get a break in the action. Then you just have to hold for 15 more. It's PKs. It might behoove them to go more in favor of running the time down. There is an opportunity to try to press something here, but there was no Australian players up front. And yeah, ends up being a free goal kick. Egypt definitely in control of possession this half. It does seem like bringing in those strikers with fairly fresh legs is working to their advantage here. It's allowed them more chances to really get shots. Ball staying here. Looks like we have our first booking. We had a challenge on the ball. It was, oh yeah. Egyptian player grabbing an Australian jersey. We have our, looking here, it's Hasim Hassan, who came in as a sub earlier in the match for Egypt. He will be the first player booked today. Happens in the 105th minute. This will be a free kick for Australia here with precious seconds left. So this would be the time to go on attack if you're Australia, because there's really not that much of an opportunity for a counterattack. In the box we go. It's headed away. That's 15 minutes. Are they going to add any time? They are going to give it a little bit of time. Not much. It does not look like they're adding a timer on the clock. And yeah, it was not much. They basically added like 10 seconds. And that concludes that half. Let's get this part settled. We are, and we are into the fourth and final period here. 15 minutes, that's all that remains between these teams. If anything materializes, any goals come through, there will likely not be a lot of time for rebuttal, so that will be likely the winner. On the other hand, if you are looking at this from a defensive perspective, you're probably not looking that forward to it. You're probably looking to run the 15 minutes down and just go to penalties. We do have the sub window getting used, one of them. Only one player from Egypt getting replaced. That's Omar Marmoush for Hazma Abdel Karim. So number 22 out, number 9 in. So this replaces a striker with a striker. This is likely to try to see if fresh legs will accomplish anything. The kick is about to happen to start this back up. Players getting back onto the field now. Just waiting for everyone to be in position. Apologies. Just adjusting something there. Almost ready to start. There it is. Timer has begun. The countdown is on. We have 15 minutes to see if something materializes. Egypt controlling it in their back half right now. So there's a lot of pressure coming in from the strikers on Australia to try to see if they can get a steal and a shot while it's still hanging back here and not everything is set up. They attempt to bring it into the box. There's a header. Goes wide right. Not a bad strategy, though. They at least got a shot at it. Comes the goal kick. Stays on the defensive line. Not a lot of deep kicks right now, and I think a lot of that has to do with the midfield mostly being drained out on Egypt's side for offensive and defensive specialists. Here it is. They are finally pressing forward. Is the whistle going to be blown? It is. Already a lot of time gone by. It's a free kick to Australia. They just kick it back. Could this be an opportunity? The ball is chased up on the right side. Australia gets into the box, but before they can shoot, there is a defender for Egypt right on hand to stop it. 2 minutes gone in the half. Only 13 remain. So again, another press forward. Can they get something here? No. This time Australia had the ball sitting basically right up against the goal line. The cross goes very high. This will be a throw-in coming for the Egyptians here. Ball goes long. And yeah, so this should be a heck of a finish coming up here. Minutes gone. Yeah, oh, that was definitely a foul. They pulled Salah down. That should be a free kick for sure. They're pressing forward. Looking for the opportunity. Can they get a goal in extra time where they don't actually have to worry about the PKs? Ball shot long. Ooh, that was nearly mishandled by the Australian keeper. He got down and nearly fell over trying to just corral the ball from the ground without falling down. He tries to stop it with his legs. Realizes it's not going to work, so he uses his hands finally. But yeah, he had to make a big adjustment there. He nearly created an accidental goal, misplaying that one. And it was partially off of his defender deflecting the ball and sending it at a weird angle. We're in the 110th minute here. Just over 10 minutes here. Are they going? As I'm waving his hand in a circle, I thought for a second we might be seeing a substitution coming. Technically, I believe both teams do have a sub window available. We'll see what they decide on. So moving up along Egypt's right side. Try now out sprint them. Ball goes off an Australian player. It's still in play, but it does go out. That'll be a throw in for Egypt. "110 minutes in the book here. Will a goal happen in these final 10? If it does, seems like it would be likely Egypt, since they've been controlling the ball so frequently since we got into the extra time frame. Definitely looking at the talent here, you would think offensively Egypt might be able to go tete-a-tete with the strikers for Australia, not Australia, the Argentina. The issue at hand would be defensively and in the midfield, do you have what it takes to match with them? Ball going in the box again, nothing doing. Ball stays in the offensive half. Even when Australia is getting the ball, unless they can get a really good kick through, it stays in the offensive half for Egypt. Here it comes. Another play. Are they going to be able to get something from the top? It's deflected by the Australian defense, and it's going out. Yep. That'll be a corner kick. That is a corner coming in here in the 112th minute. Here comes the kick. Goes up. off an Australian head more than anything, so nothing doing there. But they can't string enough together to get it out of there. Ball is still in play. And a corner kick is coming as it goes off an Australian foot. It's saved by the Egyptian players, and it's kicked. But yeah, the corner this time, they're not going straight into the box. They bring it up to the top, try to send it from there. It does not work, and that should be a goal kick. So this will be Australia's chance to get this into their offensive half. Really good defensive effort on Australia's part to maintain this. Ball rolling. Gets over to the left side. They're not calling a foul on it, so it is a clean steal. Egypt goes with it, even though the Australian player fell. He did get up quickly, though, so he knows that he can't be messing around right now. A shot is made, but a sliding tackle by Australia prevents the ball from actually getting near the net, so that should be a corner. Seven minutes and change remain. This kick probably will not happen until we hit the 114th minute. Yep, here he comes. I'm going to kick right at 113.01, right at the very beginning of the 114th minute. But through every minute right now for Australia, it feels like you're just riding out a storm. You finally get the ball on offense. They do have it in the offensive half. Immediately have to send it back. But can they use this control to finally gain some semblance of an attack here? Can they get at least one decent shot at trying to win this match? There we go, 113.50 in the books. Ball comes up to the right side. Straight trying to strike it, it does not work, and the ball goes out of bounds. They're calling goal kick. The defender did not touch it, so they're calling for a goal kick here as we enter now the 115th minute. They're no longer kicking deep. They're letting the defense seize control and try to force their way up the field. They're walking it up. Once again, they're back in the offensive half. Into the box they go. Attempted a shot, not happening. Goes off of a leg. Will they call goal kick or corner kick? I'm looking at the replay right now. That was definitely off of an Australian leg. So here comes Salah again. Right here as he sets up the ball again. Less than 5 minutes remain here. The kick. Once again, sending it up to the top, trying to kick it in from the box more directly. They go for it. Off an Australian leg again, still not able to really get a decent look. They kick it back to their defense. But again, ball stays in the offensive half. Here we go, another shot. Goes past every player and rolls itself out. That should be a throw in for Australia here. This is an effort that's being made here. Less than 4 to go. Ball thrown in. Ends up rolling right back to an Egyptian player standing at the midfield stripe. Again, the ball feels pretty much stuck on this side, except in very rare cases. Here's an opportunity. It has made it into the offensive half. They kick it into the attacking third for Australia. Player is knocked over. This one is a foul. Here is a chance. A very rare chance for Australia in this extra time frame. They are going to get a free kick a few yards behind the box. Could this be the moment? Now they're being thoroughly outplayed all 30 of these minutes. Could Australia basically sneak one past with less than 3 minutes to go and secure their place in the top 16? Here we go. 2.5 to go. Here's the kick. He runs past. Second man kicks. Goes off an Egyptian head. Rolls out of bounds. That's a throw into Australia. I would expect a minute to be added. Just because of how much time it takes to set up. Boom, there was a foul called. There'll be a free kick straight to Egypt. They're rushing up the field trying before Australia can be set. Ball goes out of bounds. That'll be a throw into Australia. Haste makes waste. And a substitute window is being used. Number 18 coming off the field for number 1. It's a goalkeeper change. Oh. Australia is subbing out their goalkeeper for the first 118 and a half minutes. Beach leaves. Ryan comes in. Because how long it takes to get over there. It won't be until the 120th minute that he actually begins play. This is an interesting strategic move. The guy who's been in place for a while, you are swapping him out. With very little time to really get into a groove. It implies you're thinking he's already pretty well prepped. We will see if this is the right call. It's rare I've seen something like this. Alright. We have a player down for Australia. It'll be a free kick in their direction. But we are also 119 and a half minutes in here. Let's see. Yep, that tackle. Yep, caught him in the leg. And he's being booked for it. That's fair. So Yasser Ibrahim. He receives a yellow card right at the end of this time frame. They are using their last sub window. Oh, wait, never mind. No, it's just the timer. They're going to do the substitution here soon, too. They are adding 1 minute. The substitution is recorded, so since we are already a dead ball, they're just going to do the substitution now. This will not be a goalkeeper switch. If anything, I think this is a stalling tactic. Trying to burn out enough time where it's not an issue. Marwan Atia coming off the field, number 19. Instead, Mahmoud Saber, number 21, comes onto the field. Again, this is a personnel decision for the sake of the penalty kicks. That was the last sub window, by the way. No one else has any more to use. This is it. This is the lineups we're going to see. The 22 players on the pitch right now are the ones who will be in place. Unless there is a shot. There is, but the keeper holds it. For a second, I actually thought that might have ended it. It is not. 2 players are down. There was a clash. I think they might have both bashed heads with each other. There's an Egyptian and an Australian down. And with the way things are looking, I would almost suspect they're going to end this. they're going to probably just call it off and say more than a minute's passed anyway. Let's just do it PKs. They haven't called it yet. But this has entered an interesting stage. By the way, that was a midfielder for a midfielder, but I believe it's just a superior striker. There it is. Everyone's gone down. That's the final whistle, and we are at full time. And so, knowing that that's complete, we are going into PKs. I am going to reset to 0-0 so that the screen is perfectly set up for PKs. All right, this is it. No way around it now. As we wait, just a quick update in the action here. Since we were talking about the men's rankings, I'll just do the women's rankings real quick in terms of where everyone sits. Spain, the defending world champion, sits at number 1 in the women's world rankings. USA, probably the favorites to win the next one, is ranked 2nd. Germany and England, Germany, England, and Japan, all perennial powers, sitting 3 through 5. France also a major threat, 6. Brazil has dropped to 7th, France jumping them. But they make up the general top 7. Sweden, usually a very good contender, sits at 8th. Canada, very talented women's squad, sitting 9th. The Netherlands, who just tend to be good at most athletic, it sits at 10. So that's your top 10 at the moment. North Korea, ranking at number 11. Much to the dismay of South Korea, who sits at 19. Norway, former world champion, sits at 14. Other perennial mainstays of the women's tournament, Australia sitting at 15. China sitting at 16. Colombia at 20. Well, there's the nice little bit of good news. The Free State, Ireland, sitting at number 21, rising up 2 positions. After a competitive defeat against the French, 1-0. All right. Here we go. Time to lock in. It is time for some PKs. I am very confused at the decision to switch out a keeper who has basically held his own for 119 minutes versus a man who joins right at the end and ultimately didn't face a shot. So he is coming in completely cold. It's basically you're trusting his instincts. Depending on the results here, this could be regarded as a genius decision, or it's going to be one that's questioned for a very long time. Go. They do have Australia did bring its keeper out to do the coin toss. Salah will be in charge for Egypt. Coin toss comes up. Egypt won that toss. They've chosen the goal. Here comes the second toss. Also goes to Egypt, so they get to decide the order as well. I don't know anything about the coin toss that interests me because normally the coin tosses I know come from like the NFL, American football, and in order to prevent anyone from getting like a full disadvantage, you get your choice of kicking the ball, receiving the ball, or which end zone you want to defend. You get one of those choices, the other one goes to the other team. Instead, here it's two separate coin tosses. Just seems interesting that it's two tosses. In any case, here we go. The penalty shootout is up. So the order they have chosen is Egypt will kick second. So first up we have, I'm going to pull up my lineup here so I can track it. Suter from Australia is the first kicker. He is one of their backs. He is the one who plays for Leicester. He goes up against Chaubert, the Egyptian goalkeeper. First shot is coming up. He lines up. He's going, kicks weak side and over kicks. Oh. He basically launched it like he would if he was a back. Like he was trying to clear the ball, and that bit him. That's a no for Australia to begin. Bad start. Next up will be Egypt. Once again, Ryan, the keeper, facing his first shot all day. So definitely some intense pressure coming up for him. Saber, who they just brought in specifically for this purpose. He's standing directly behind the ball. I've yet to see someone actually succeed with this, but here it comes. He kicks strong side. Keeper went early. Ball goes over him. That is one for Egypt. And that, I think, is the danger of having a keeper who hasn't been timed with the match. Like I very much disagree with that tactic. Regardless if it succeeded for them before, like that is a danger. Irvine is up next for Australia. He kicks. He gets the keeper to guess wrong side, and that levels it. He is. They're going to need a save. That's the one thing. Already, if you're Egypt, you have the advantage that Australia's already missed. You just have to hold form. We got Rabia from the backfield coming up for Egypt next. Lines up on Ryan again. He's going to be approaching. Says strong side of the right leg. He takes it strong side, gets the keeper to guess, and he scores. That sends it to 2-1. Once again, Egypt just has to just has to run chalk. As long as they hit their shots, this is over. So here it comes. Nabil Mabel. Kicker for Australia here. Another option coming up. He approaches again. Strong side is his right foot. He takes weak side and gets him to guess. So that is a second one for Australia. We are level again. Woo! Love it. Who punches the 14th ticket to the round of 16? Does a second representative from Africa go, or will it be the AFC's lone representative continuing a little longer? This might not be the shot. Salah is taking the third position. This has to be some kind of high-pressure situation. I just imagine if you were Matthew Ryan, who normally plays for Levante, now you're facing Liverpool's star player. He comes off to the kicks with his left foot onto dead center and completely shakes him. That takes it to 3-2. Yeah, that was not going to be the guy you beat. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. The problem at this point, if you're Australia, you can't mess up anymore. A miss right here would give Egypt match point, and they would get and the next two chances, both of them could be to end it. So you have to be on your game the rest of the way. Harrington now is up. Once again, another back on the field for Australia. Again, he's going to kick strong side right foot. So I was the only one that's gone strong side left foot. Here it goes. It's, oh no, that's going to do it. That was a awful kick. Did he even need to get a hand on it, or did he just straight overshoot that? Let me see. No, it bashes the crossbar. It bashed the top of the crossbar. That might do it. They can't have any more mess-ups. They have to hit their fifth shot if it comes. But at this point, there's no guarantee the fifth shot ever happens. Egypt finishes it if they get one more goal, and that can literally happen right now. This is it. For the Egyptians, this is an advancement in the knockout stages. A lot of excitement, a lot of hype for basically everyone in red. This is Hossam. Will this be his moment? If this doesn't even need the fifth shot, man, this substitution is going to be questioned for ages. If he goes out on 4 shots. Here's his chance. Going right foot, strong side again. Kicks, beats him on the side, and that will do it. And that is booked. We are done here. All right, that was a long one. I actually am going to get a more substantive lunch now, but what a match. Congrats to Egypt on advancing to the round of 16. Tough break, Australia, and tough break to the entire AFC, who receives no one for the Asian continent. And with that, I must bid you all adieu. Enjoy the remaining matches today. Enjoy the NWSL, and